let's just sew whatever. Welcome to the video about my truth. The truth about why I sew. That was probably dumb. Hey everybody, so today I'm gonna do a video that a lot of you guys have requested, which is kind of like my sewing background story. Why I do what I do, what happened, why am I here, where am I going? Oh god, this got deep real fast. Anyway, so let's see, where do I start? I have been sewing since I was probably 8, give or take, so 19 years. Yeah, I'm 27. Okay, great. Glad we got that out of the way. So yeah, I started by sewing Barbie clothing, basically. I used my mom's Kenmore sewing machine that I hated so much. I always had tension issues, but it's probably because I didn't know how to thread it. Or I'd put the bobbin in wrong. I don't know, something always went wrong, but it was probably my fault. So yeah, that was my mom's sewing machine, and I would just kind of make random stuff. And I remember in junior high, my Aunt Carla would pick me up on the weekends and we would go sew at her house because she knew I liked sewing and I wasn't very good. And I remember one thing we actually made was a pair of pants, and that was really fun. So she showed me like how to cut out a pattern and how to cut out your pieces, and we sewed it together, inserted zippers, all that stuff. So thank you, Carla, if for some reason you're watching this, for kind of pushing me along and showing me that there's a more precise way of doing it instead of just kind of making it up as you go along. But I remember I did an applique jacket that I wore throughout high school. I was an emo kid. What's up? And I don't know, I just really loved the idea of being able to fix something that was broken or add to something that I didn't necessarily like, but I could like by those small alterations. And so I kind of combined sewing and art in high school. I'll insert photos if I can figure out how to do it. But I actually was mostly a painter in high school, and throughout my younger years, I really loved drawing art. But in college, I kind of realized maybe it's not what I'm great at. I may have the talent, but I don't necessarily have anything to say as far as art, painting, fine art, that kind of thing. So that was a big bummer. Definitely depression ensued because it's what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know what else to do. So I actually kind of was teaching art to kids at a local center. I used to also teach art to handicapped and disabled adults. And that was just really fun to help them create something that was in their mind. But the person who ran the community center we taught at was like, hey, would you be interested in teaching children? So I did that for a little while. It was really fun. Loved all those kids. But one family kind of stuck with me after I stopped teaching, and they were into Monster High dolls. And so I kind of hung out with them and really enjoyed them too. And Tammy, the mom, who also works with me now, was making them doll clothes. And I was like, oh, that's like super fun. I want to try that. So CJ had gotten me a sewing machine for Christmas one year. So around that same time, I was making them doll clothing, and I started selling them on Etsy. It was just really fun. I'd come home from work and I would sew. It was just a really fun way to spend the time. So I was starting to get into craft shows with the clothing, and I made hair bows and stuff like that just out of hot glue. And at the craft shows, I noticed a lot of people had different things like zipper pouches, makeup bags, fun stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I could do more than just Monster High doll clothing. That would be really fun. You know, this is enjoyable, but not everybody needs Monster High doll clothing, as satisfying as it is to make. So I started ordering fabric off of Spoonflower that were closer to my interests. So like Doctor Who, different fun things, Bob's Burgers, and making the doll clothing out of that and selling it. And it kind of got me thinking like, oh, I could apply this to hair bows and all kinds of stuff. So I had started my own website instead of selling on Etsy. It was just a little bit easier as far as freedom and ease of fees and stuff like that. And I was starting to sell different things. So I didn't want to clutter up my shop with Monster High doll clothing and like different little accessories, makeup bags, zipper pouches. So I was also working for an online company that sold on Amazon, and I was doing pretty well there. I was like one of the shipping department people. It was a small company and I loved it because it was a small business, and I learned a lot from that company, but ultimately we didn't see eye to eye, I guess you could say. So the owner of the company's wife bought some hair bows, and he didn't realize that I had been selling online even though I disclosed that I was. So he took me aside and was like, you know, this is moonlighting, you can't do this. So it was either focus on my business or quit and continue working for his business. And I decided to take a chance on myself. I was like, I don't really want to work for you the rest of my life. This was a great way to, you know, pay my bills, and I'd had insurance, but I think I can do this. So that was probably a really dumb decision. My parents were like, maybe not. I mean, you got a good paying job now. And I was like, yeah, I don't care. It's really hard to get out of bed in the morning doing something I don't really love. So I was unemployed for a few months. I tried finding jobs, but I wasn't really a fan of any of them. So I used to go into Hancock Fabrics a lot, and one day I was taking packages to the post office that I'd sold the night before, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in and look for some cheap fabrics and say hello to the people that work there. And they were like, are you looking for a job or anything? And I was like, yes. That would be amazing. So I worked at Hancock and I learned so much about sewing, like things that I never even dreamed of. And I loved working there. I loved helping everybody with their projects. And I was actually teaching a few classes. I mean, only 3 people ever signed up, but it was something. And then my business had grown. I was designing more fabric. I was making more items. I was into handbag making at the time, and just very slowly working my way up to, I don't know, growing my business essentially. I was doing a lot of Comic-Cons, conventions, traveling a lot. And so when Hancock closed, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take that chance on myself and work full time. So Hancock closed probably about 4 years ago now, maybe 5. Just crazy. Yeah, that sounds right. So that's how long I've been working full-time from home. I created this group, well, the sewing group Sew Whatever, in 2016. So yeah, 4 years, wow. And I had been making handbags. I had my industrial, and I was making a bag that I had learned a few tricks on to make it easier because I noticed a lot of people were having issues. So I went live in that sewing group and they deleted it. So I decided to post in Sew Whatever, the group. The group was actually made originally for classes I was teaching at Hobby Lobby. Again, I'd only ever taught 3 people. My best friend Brittany signed up, and then one of the moms from when I taught art classes to kids, Barb, she's awesome. Anyway, so yeah, this sewing group has grown to 11,000 people, maybe even 12,000 at this point. Like, it's insane. It's so cool to see everybody's projects and growth. I don't even know if I've touched on all the talking points that I had. But my grandma is a huge inspiration to me to keep going. Over the years, she's sewn so much stuff, and everything she makes is just like with love and care, and you can feel it. So I try to keep that in mind and create for others. And it's a really fun problem solving tool, I guess. Like, hey, I have this problem. I can't carry things. I need a bag. So I don't know. Bag making is just so fun because it solves that problem, and it's something anyone could use. It can fit anyone. So that's why I'm so passionate about bag making. I feel like this got disjointed very quickly, but that's my brain. So basically what I do is I've incorporated my fine art love creating fabric into handbag making. So I design pretty much most of my fabrics. I also sell some, and it's just been really fun. I don't know how I got here, but I keep working my butt off and it's been fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little insight video with my brain ping-ponging around. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I know a lot of people ask that they'd like me to do a Q&A video, so I may schedule that for later in the week or later in the year, and just do like a live video where people can send questions on the screen, or I can have a few written down. But that would kind of help me because my brain is kind of all over the place. And that's why sewing is nice too, because I can follow the directions and stay on task instead of being such a ADD crafter brain. So thank you guys so much for being here and supporting me. It's insane that there's now 17,000 subscribers. Like, we hit 5,000 and I was like, that's it, I'm done. This is great. Hit 10,000. This is amazing. I don't want any more, but you guys are here and I love it. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This is the best. I'll see you later. Bye. Ben, what are you doing? Ben.